G'day and welcome to the Ball Boys Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Today we are doing a 14-team mock draft with the GOAT of fantasy, Josh Lloyd. Let's go!
Not a game. We talking about practice.
LeBron James with no regard for human life. Anything's possible. Back out to Allen. His three-pointer. Bang! Curry for three. Wow! Unbelievable. Making it rain in New York. We the North are now we the champions. Not the destination, it's the journey. Mamba out.
G'day and welcome again to the Ball Boys Fantasy Basketball Podcast. I'm your host, Mitch Casey, and you can find me on Twitter at BallBoysNBA and on Instagram at BallBoysFantasyBasketball. Today we are doing a 14-team mock draft, and I am joined by the one and only, the GOAT of fantasy basketball, Josh Lloyd. How are you, mate?
Mitch, how are you, mate?
I'm doing really well, really well. Excited to get stuck into another mock draft today. Like we said before, 14-team, 9-category, 10 starters for bench. We're drafting over on Yahoo. I'll be at pick number 1. And where are you picking today, Josh?
Thanks for giving me one of the shittest spots. I'm at number 5, which I'm not, it's better than 6 or 7, which I think might be the worst spots to draft at this season, but 5's, we'll see what happens. We'll see if these guys ahead of me make mistakes, and maybe I get someone good at 5, but I'm not looking forward to it.
Yeah, well, I remember in the last mock we did together, I was at pick 7, right. and Durant fell to me.
Though.
So who knows
what happens?
We'll see. I
might be left with someone good here, depending on what these other guys do.
Yeah, well, spoiler, Jokic won't be falling to you, but maybe someone else might make it down to you. I think we've had a couple of guys in the chat already sort of saying that they're looking forward to sniping your picks and for you to cuss them out. So we'll see how that goes.
I'm on someone else's show, Mitch. I've got to be very well behaved. I can't be calling people out and swearing at them when it's not my own show.
It's okay. Let them fly. It's okay. Couple of Aussies. It's all good. It's got to be expected at least.
Well, I'm not going to go full Aussie and drop our full swearing vernacular, because I don't believe the people over the other side of the world will appreciate all of our language that we use regularly here.
They're not ready for it. But anyway, the draft's starting in 8 seconds, and we've got a minute per pick here, and I will not be needing a minute to draft my first player. Fortunately enough, it is I'm at pick 1 in my own draft, so let's go. Nikola Jokic.
If you did need more than a minute, I'd probably just have to hang up, to be honest. Pick Jokic at 1. Like, there's no guarantee he finishes at 1, Mitch, but you have to take him at 1. I think that's as simple as that. There's no guarantee that anyone finishes anywhere, but you can't make an argument not to, even if it's not a guarantee that he does finish there. We're already up to my pick.
Oh, and look, here you go.
That flew. So we have Giannis, Doncic, Harden. I wanted Harden to fall to me. Adam has annoyed me there. Okay. Durant or Embiid?
There you go. You've got the option.
I'm going to take KD. All right, I'm going to take KD at 5. I could. That's maybe 5 isn't so bad, because Doncic obviously jumped up too high there, and that would have left me with a bit of a harder decision. But I'm okay taking Durant at 5. I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah, I think that the decision between Durant and Embiid is an interesting one. Is it Cowboy? He's gone with Giannis at 2, which is exactly what I would do, and I believe I've heard you say before that you would be doing the same thing.
Exactly.
So for me, that 3 and 4 spot, it is like the Durant Embiid selection, and I think I would just go Embiid. Funnily enough, because I feel like I can rely on Embiid a little more. I don't know why that's the case, but I just feel more safe with Embiid. I feel like he's an easier punt strategy guy to build around. You can kind of go with a punt threes depending on who comes back to you, but I'm easy either way. I think I'm just Embiid though.
I think the reason that you feel like you can trust Embiid more, and we all have this issue, Mitch, is that we look at what happened last year and we go, well, Embiid played more games, therefore he's more reliable.
Yeah.
But before the start of last season, if you had had this discussion, Durant or Embiid, and you had said, I feel more trustworthy in Embiid, every single person, including me, would have laughed at you. And people would have laughed at me saying the same thing. But it's amazing what 6 months of basketball will change the opinions of people that go, oh, now Embiid is actually more trustworthy. Or is he? Or was it one season? I'm not saying he's not, but it's far from like a guaranteed situation where that's what's going to happen as we move forward.
Yeah, I think it also might just be the age factor as well for me, and just obviously, I don't think that the Durant saga is over yet. Obviously, he said he's playing for the team. You know, he might start there, but you know, I don't know. I don't know if he's going to be. You know, it's going to be more drama. You know, the Nets has got a bit of a funky roster with Kyrie and Ben Simmons on the team. So there's just a few things that I'd rather not worry about with the Nets. But in saying that, I still have them top 4. So it's a moot point, really.
What a crazy world we're living in, where we're like, you know what? Everything around the Sixers is so much more calm with James Harden and Joel Embiid together. Like, it's just such a calm situation. Like, what crazy stuff that is.
That's a good point.
It's just what.
Oh, Tyrese Halliburton.
What if the Nets start off 10-0? Right, we're just going to be going, oh wow, yeah, everything's right in Brooklyn, and the Sixers go 4-6, and then we start worrying, oh, is Harden a cancer? Like, things will change so quickly. But is that early for you for Halliburton at 10?
It's a little early for me. He's gone before Damian Lillard. He's gone before Jason Tatum, who just went. Before Trae Young. So there's a few guys there that I would be selecting before Halliburton. I don't mind him being a first rounder in a 14-team league, but probably, again, back end of the first round. So a couple of guys I would be taking over Halliburton just because we haven't seen him crack this area yet, and whereas a few of those guys have.
I don't really have any concerns with Halliburton heading into the season of what he's going to do. I saw him do at the end of last season. He's going to do similar stuff, but I wouldn't take him ahead of Tatum. I wouldn't take him probably ahead of Lillard. Even I think he's probably the perfect guy in that 11, 12, 13 range.
Yeah.
But even though you say 10, well, it's only one spot higher. When we're leaving Tatum and Lillard on the board, I'd rather take those guys ahead of him. We didn't mention this, but LaMelo went 7th and Towns went 8th. Raph took Towns at 8. I'm not sure that Towns at 8 is even going to be worth it, but Steph at 9 is a great pick. The first round is so muddled this year.
Yeah, it's a bit funky towards. I feel like no one's got a consensus order that they're doing just yet. No. I'm fine with Towns being sort of that top 10 pick, but in a 14-team league draft, I feel like at the end of the first, start of the second, there's a lot of these guards that go. So in like a 12-team league, I'm happy to go Towns ahead, one of those guards, and you'll get one on the way back. Like you'll get a Lillard or a Halliburton or a Trae Young or a Kyrie on the way back, and then you got a Towns and one of those guards. But in a 14-team league, that's not going to happen. So for me, then Towns maybe goes back because I think per game, I think you're right. He's behind a few of those guards, in my opinion, with the addition of Embiid's, Gobert. So.
Yeah, I wouldn't take Towns. Like, Towns went ahead of Curry and Tatum in this draft. No, I wouldn't take him ahead of those guys. No, but I do get it. Like, there are a bunch of other guards here. We must be getting close. So 7 picks until mine.
Oh, Kawhi Leonard's gone.
Curry and Kawhi.
Back to back.
Kawhi would fall. All right. I reckon, what's your thoughts on Paul George here? I reckon he's being a little bit underrated.
Yeah, he's a hard one for me to pick. I'd almost be willing to take him ahead of Kawhi, just because I feel a bit more confident with his availability. I feel like Kawhi guaranteed he's going to miss pretty much all of those back-to-backs. Paul,
15 of them.
PG, I don't know what the Clippers' plan is with him. I've heard some people say that he's going to be resting back-to-backs, and some people say that he's not. So, he's a bit of a tricky one for me.
I'll tell you what I know about it is the people who claiming he's going to sit every back-to-back are making it up.
Right.
That hasn't been announced. That people just assume that because he played 31 games last season. They will be cautious with him. But Paul George is not a guy that is just sat back-to-backs. He doesn't have any degenerative leg problems. He had a weird baseball injury to a ligament in his elbow, which is just so fluky.
Yeah, it's not a typical...
And then he came back and played big minutes when he returned it straight away anyway. He will sit some back-to-back, sure, as a maintenance thing, but he will not sit... If he sits every back-to-back, then... I don't. There's just no reason for it. Like, it's fear-mongering, I think, with everything. I just don't see how that's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, he missed a lot of games, but sure, it's not what's going to happen.
Yeah, I kind of have them back-to-back. I think I've got PG a little bit ahead of Kawhi just because I'm more optimistic about his availability. But then again, Kawhi is a better fantasy player, so it's it can definitely depend on your like fantasy playoff schedule and those sort of things. But I think that they're still in that same kind of zone, like mid-second, late second round for me. So I've got no issue with drafting either of those guys at that position.
Look, I'm taking Paul George if he gets back to me. Like last season, he shot like 41% or something. I don't think he's going to do that again. Like if he goes to 45%, like he could be 13th or 12th very easily. He also 2 years ago averaged 2 steals per game. We can't rely upon that.
Yeah.
But I think he's going to be really good, and I think he's going to play big minutes. And I'm not that. If I'm worried about his games missed, then nearly everyone, like Anthony Davis,
Yeah.
Kawhi Leonard, Kyrie Irving, LeBron James, like the other 4 guys that went ahead of him, how much confidence do you feel in those guys? Like you shouldn't feel any.
Do you hesitate a little bit because you drafted someone like a Kevin Durant in the first round with selecting like a Kawhi or a Paul George in the second? Would you rather someone a bit more reliable?
Kawhi, yes. I wouldn't have. I wasn't. In theory, Kawhi is a great pick there, but that worry with him and Durant is real. I'm not that worried about Paul George.
Right.
Like he's had these fluky sort of injuries. I'm not worried about him re-tearing a ligament in his elbow this season. And I know he's had a really poor history with games played the last couple of years, but I try to look at why. Like, what are those injuries, and is there concern with that moving forward? And I'm not really concerned with it. So I think he might end up falling to me here, and I'll be happy with it.
I'll just
but I'm not that worried.
While you get ready for your pick here, Anthony Edwards and Bam Adebayo going at 19 and 20. I think a little too early for me for both of them. Bam, I think definitely too early for me. He was like 39th ranked player last year, and nothing really has changed at Miami. Anthony Edwards seems to be getting a lot of hype, and there goes Donovan Mitchell again with the trade news. I think that's too early.
Jesus.
Yeah. He might have been around that spot before the trade, but now over in Cleveland with Garland and Mobley there to join him.
He's gone ahead of Garland, interestingly.
Yeah. DeJounte Murray. He's gone ahead of Garland. He's gone ahead of PG. Freddie Van Vliet still out there. Oh, there goes Paul George.
I know who that. I know, that's Jeff. I knew Jeff was going to take Paul George there, and that has annoyed me no end. All right, so what do we do here? We took Durant. Jimmy Butler's sitting there. I'm obviously really worried about his games played. Chris Paul, is he in that mix? Because I'm not. Chris Paul probably fall to me now that I'm talking to you. You're going to have picks in front of me. Rob Williams.
Yeah, pick 24.
22 seconds. I told you I wasn't going to run the clock down, but here I am running the clock down.
That's all right. You got sniped.
Assists are tough to come by. I got 14 seconds. You know what? I'm just going to tell you that I really like this guy this year, so I'm going to take Cade Cunningham at 24.
Okay.
I know it's too early. Like, I do know that, but this is part of a mock draft. It's to.
He's not coming back to you, probably. Yeah.
Okay. It's also just to give an idea in these mock drafts. I'm not like trying to extract every ounce of value out of ADP or anything like that. It's like I just like this guy at this spot, and I think he's got a chance of getting to this area. And as I try and tell people a lot, is that if you reach for someone 5 spots too early, it's not a reach. Like, who cares? Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's one of those sort of things, especially like with the 14-team league. Like it kind of feels early because it's like a second round, but really it's the very last pick in a normal draft. So your next pick wasn't until like pick 33 or 34. So it's unlikely he's coming back to you.
And I wanted a little bit of stability there as well.
Adam wasn't happy.
Butler. Oh, yeah, well, eat it. I'm picking next to him again because he was stealing them all from me in the mock draft last week.
Oh, you're going to have snipes left, right, and centre.
Good.
Payback time.
So what are you targeting here then?
So I'm hoping that Jimmy Butler falls to me. He would be an ideal pick for me with a bit of a punt threes build with Jokic, and if I can get Jimmy, that would be great. I feel really confident with a Jokic pick being nice and stable. Ja Morant. Okay, not worried about that. And then my second pick, I'm eyeing off Shea at this spot. I think it's about time for him. I know people would be concerned about his playoff availability and the shutdown and all those kind of things, but I'm not too cool. All right, I'm pretty happy to get Jimmy here.
Ooh, go Bear.
That will leave my blocks pretty weak. So I'll go Jimmy as my first pick as I continue to run on the clock. And then I've got to decide if I pull the trigger on a Robert Williams.
Rob Williams is top of my queue for my next pick, so don't if you can avoid it.
I'm just deciding whether or not I should be looking after my blocks now or if I keep looking after my points. Just because Rob's points puts me in a little bit of a hole.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Jimmy. All right, let's draft Jimmy. He's locked away. At 28, I like that. I think that's good value and a great pick for my team. Look, let's go Shea here. I think I want to look after my points a little more. Shea, yeah, I think he's a good. Again, my strategy here is to go with a bit of a punt threes build, and I think if I can lock away some good guards with some good percentages, steals, assists, I'm looking really strong there, and hopefully I can get some blocks in the next couple of rounds. I just didn't want to put myself in a big points hole early in the draft when I've got good players like Jokic and Butler to build around.
No, that's fair enough. Shea was on my list. I'm really debating. You make a good point about the points, and maybe I don't get Rob Williams here. Sabonis is in there for me. I think this is probably the right spot for Garland as well.
Yeah, I think it's getting there.
And I've got Chris Paul on my list too. So I'm probably going to target Garland with this pick. We know that points and assists are harder to find later on in the draft. I can get some block guys later. Again, Garland would have gone probably early 20s before this trade. And if Adam's going to take him here, he didn't. He took Siakam. Good for you, Adam.
Okay.
Good for you. So Beal went 31. We didn't talk about Zion at 30.
Yeah.
I'll make my pick. I'm just going to take Garland. What do you think of Zion at 30?
Well, see, this is the thing with me with the punt free throw build, and I'm actually going to be releasing a punt free throw build guide on the ballboys.com, ballboysnba.com website. I think that's too early for Zion, and especially with the Giannis team. Zion's biggest appeal there is points and his huge field goal percentage. And I feel like when you've got a team with Gobert and Giannis already there, your field goal percentage is so astronomically higher than everyone else's. The value of getting Zion at pick 3, it's not as appealing as what you might think it would be when you go and look at the punt ranking or the, when you punt free throw percentage. Obviously Zion shoots up the ranking boards, but I think I'd be rather trying to get someone to give me a bit more boosts in steals and assists at that point, and then hoping that a Zion comes back, because I don't think a lot of other teams will be targeting Zion at that point. But again, in a 14 team, it kind of throws it off a little bit.
Yeah, you never get it. That guy's never going to have that opportunity to get Zion on the way back. And I get what you're saying, but I also think that, because I did a similar thing in that draft the other day, so I had Giannis and Zion and like Rob Williams all together on one team. But then I just didn't have to really pay attention to anyone's field goal percentage later on at all.
Yeah.
I could really, because you can't find those sort of volume field goal percentage influences later on. Like you might get Jakob Poeltl or you find Clint Capella or something, but they do it on 6 shots a game and it doesn't have that much of an impact. But when you got these guys, like I can take, if I want to take Colin Sexton, who might shoot 43% on 17 attempts, actually it's okay.
It doesn't matter.
It's fine. I can grab those. I can grab Andy Wiggins. I can grab Jordan Clarkson if I want later on, who's going to score but might hurt my field goals. Oh, well, I've got this gigantic buffer where my team sits at 57, 58% from the field, and it's going to smash everyone, where I actually don't need to pay attention to it for, really ever in the rest of the draft.
Yeah. No, it is an interesting discussion point. I guess it's harder to sort of tell when you don't know who's going to be really coming back to you with a deeper league. But, yeah, I don't know. I think I might just, I'd even probably prefer a Sabonis ahead of a Zion personally, because I think you still get that field goal percentage, but then you get some more assists. Although we might see some point Zion and his assists might come up. So
I think we will.
Yeah, he's an interesting player, very interesting player this year. I wonder how cautious they're going to be with him. But by all reports, I think he should be good to go. Who did you pick? You picked Garland.
I got Garland, yeah.
Okay, and that was around 33, 34. I think that's about where he should be going.
Yep, I think he's a third round player. Like maybe it's him and Mitchell will be late third, early fourth round in a standard league, around this spot here. When they both would have gone early 20s before the trade, I think it's not bad value. He's going to lose value for sure, and I think people forget that Garland really took off when Rubio and Sexton went down last season. So he was playing 38 minutes with 30 usage and 10 plus assists when he wasn't doing that earlier on. So there is going to be a drop-off for sure. But I think that's a fine spot for him.
The value of his assists, I think, boosts him a little bit higher than what his quote-unquote rank would end up being as well, because, we said, it's hard to find those kind of stats later in the draft, so he'll still be very much up there. And I think he's still a young player, obviously, so even though he might lose a couple of minutes in usage, he's still improving. He's still gaining in confidence. Isn't he? So he's I think that we should expect maybe a little bit of a drop off, but nothing enormous in my opinion. There goes Mobley. What was that? Pick 40. Do you have him around this sort of zone? I think that's where I'd be happy to draft him. I know he went earlier in that other mock we did, but this is about where I'd want to be taking him.
I don't have him in this area, but you probably have to punt free throws a little bit with him, which does boost his value. But while I really love Mobley as a player, I think he should have won Rookie of the Year. People are well aware what I think of him. I think he's going to be a stud. When I look at this team, is there room for a usage increase for him this season? I don't think so. Like, is he going to play, or is he going to get more blocks? That was already a high strength. You're banking on the free throws improving significantly, and I don't think you should. He shot 58,
I'd be treating him as a punt
59 at college.
Guy. Yeah.
I don't mind him here, but there are people who are just like, he's definitely top 40, top 30, but where is the improvement actually coming from? That's we can say he should improve, but where? What's improving?
Yeah, I think, I'm
not sure what it is.
Well, Christian's team here, he's selected Anthony Davis, the pick before, so it looks like he's leaning into a bit more of that punt free throw build, which is interesting with a Damian Lillard as your first pick. But I'm okay with that if Davis sort of, you think he's a guy that fell to you.
Well, the thing is as well, is that we've seen Davis be 79, 80%. Yeah, Mobley is not broken with his shooting. He's never shown it, but he's not broken.
Yeah,
maybe
so
it happens.
It could happen.
Maybe it doesn't, though. Yeah, maybe it doesn't, though.
Kristaps Porzingis goes at pick 43. I think he's one of the hardest guys for me to peg because I just know that he's a top 20, top 25 guy.
He might be top 15 this year. Like, he legitimately might be.
Yeah, he's a fantasy beast. I was hot on him last year. I was sort of thinking that he was a bit of value, and he's going sort of pretty similar spots this year. And it's just a hard one for me to sort of pick. So of anyone left on the board, he's obviously got the highest upside, but it's just, can you rely on him? And in a head-to-head format where you need him for your playoffs, it's really tough. You could get lucky or you might not.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that like these guys who missed tons of time in Porzingis and Durant, they played like every game in the fantasy playoffs, basically. Yeah. And ended up with 50 games played for the season. So, like, was it worth picking them? In the end, yeah. But, like, how do we rely upon that? Like, I don't know. Maybe Porzingis plays 70 games. Who knows? Like, it's so hard. I know that when he plays, he's going to be good. There's a really bad narrative about Porzingis around at the moment. I saw someone talking about how he's just like, he's actually just a really bad real life player, and that just couldn't be further from the truth. Like, it's not. Like, was the fit with Doncic perfect? No. Did he have some struggles at times? Sure, but he's not bad. He's actually pretty good, and he's really, really impactful, and he's really good if things are working for him. He's healthy, but someone said that he's just a good stats bad player guy. That's so far from the truth. I don't know where that narrative starts coming from.
I think he works good as a center as well. I really like him as a center in Washington. Terry Rozier went there.
He killed it last year.
Yeah, especially at the end of that season.
Rozier's been interesting.
I reckon he'd normally go later than this. Yeah, he'd normally go later than this, but I think everyone switched on in this draft. I think he's a bit of a sleeper, but at pick 40, what was he, 46? It's about where I think he should be.
Is that pushing too early for him?
No, I don't think so. I think he was top 30 guy last year, and obviously you don't have Bridges there anymore, so I don't expect any drop off in his numbers. There might even be room for improvement, so I'm happy with him being at this spot.
The thing with Rozier is 2 years ago he was horrendous, like really bad field goal percentage, extraordinarily low 2-point percentage, and then he stepped it up for a year and went, okay, I don't know if this is real. He's been like 44% 2-point percentage guy forever, and then shot like 51 or whatever it was. But he's done it 2 years in a row now. Now, could he regress back? Maybe. But I think we sort of have to look at him as now like an elite level sort of shooter. But he's just, to me, he's the Tobias Harris of guards. It's just the most boring production ever. Like, what is exciting about him? It's so boring.
Yeah, he gets a boost from having low turnovers as well. But, I mean, good threes, good percentages. The assists are okay. The points are pretty good.
Well, he's going to be their backup point guard as well. They don't have anyone else.
They've got no one, yeah. So, I think, like, he is boring, but I think he's still decent value. And Chris Middleton at 48, I think, is a similar kind of thing. Might miss the start of the season, but I'm not too worried. Similar to, like, Pascal Siakam last year, I think he's, not an injury that I'm really concerned about.
Although Middleton did drop off with his shooting quite a bit last season, so that's something to watch. And he's 31, 32. He lost a bit of a step last season. He wasn't terrible, but he lost a bit.
Coming up to you, Josh. Who are you hoping falls to you, man?
I got De'Aaron Fox at the top of my queue. I've got really strong free throws across my team. Like, my team is like 88% across the three guys that I've drafted. So I've got significant scope to be able to absorb Fox into that. I want to really solidify the assists on this team. and Fox is going to help me with that. And hopefully he can do what he did down the stretch last season. I don't believe he can because we've seen him flash that and tease us so many times. But, I can't find a point guard to get me 7, 8 assists really. After him, there's not that many. Maybe Giddy, but he's got even worse percentage problems than Fox does.
Yeah. It's interesting. So you're looking at another guard there after picking Garland and Cade Cunningham in the last couple of rounds. Oh, there he goes.
Well, I was looking at another guard, but now I'm going to reassess what I'm doing.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do now is I've got Kevin Durant, so I might as well get the Bayou Kevin Durant and put Brandon Ingram into my queue. Again, just we talk again how hard it is to get points, Mitch, and in 14-team leagues, it's just that extra bit harder. So if Ingram can get me 25 points, I definitely can't find it later on in a 14-teamer. So I just need to get a little bit more stability in those numbers, and I'll find the other categories later on. Unless Ingram, of course, goes with this next pick and Jeff dicks me over like he did last time.
Yeah, I was going to say, back-to-back, can he do it? Come on, Jeopardy.
He's really thinking. He's trying to read my mind.
Yeah, he's trying to figure out what you want. What would Josh do? And I'm going to do that.
I reckon he thought I was going to take Bain. So
he was going off last mock.
Exactly. That's it. You never let him know your next move. All right, Brandon Ingram, bang, let's go. All right, that's it. That was an easy one.
Easy, there you go. Okay. All right, Adam, don't you pick my guy here. All right.
So Ben Simmons is going to go coming up here. That guy that took Gobert and Zion is going to take Simmons.
Yeah,
my guess.
Definitely. Okay, who do I want?
You want Şengün?
He's in my queue right now.
Okay, do you want an interesting anecdote? Like I put up something about the Yahoo change in rankings about the guys that jumped up a lot. Jalen Smith, Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, Şengün, Jalen Smith, as I said. I put it up on my Instagram, and the amount of people was like, man, it's crazy. How can you possibly have Garland over Ja? Man, Şengün is way too high. Jalen Smith, that's a joke. People don't realize the change in opportunity for these guys.
Yeah, it's enormous.
Şengün at 70, that's ridiculous. Like someone said, man, is he even going to start? Like, who else is going to start?
Yeah,
so people haven't really.
No one else.
People haven't really clicked on to these Vassell and Jalen Smith and Şengün opportunities that are there for them. That there is no one really else is going to take.
Yeah. It's and if he gets his 30 minutes, then you just already know that he's going to be a fantasy star. And he's looking good over in the Euro comp at the moment. So
people were worried about his foul trouble as well, which it was. I think he was 10th highest in the league in foul trouble percentage last season, which is not great.
I'm confident he'd improve.
Yeah, he also, I'm just going to look at this, but I'm pretty sure in the games that he started last season, he averaged 31 minutes a night. Let me have a look. He started 13 games. He averaged 30 minutes a night in the 13 games that he started.
Yeah.
So foul trouble, 30
didn't limit
minutes
him then, did it? Yeah.
Like if he plays 31 or 32, as we always expect people's foul rates to drop as their career goes on, it's just been a consistent trend. Like, he should get 30, 31 nearly every night.
All right, I think...
Oh, Simmons did go. I knew it.
Yeah, we picked him. We can read him like a book. Okay.
I bet he gets Giddy on the way back.
Yeah, Giddy or Christian Wood, someone like that.
Oh, yeah, that's a good
one. Okay. I'm just trying to think about what I need. Okay, I'm gonna go the fun pick because he's definitely not getting back to me. Last time I went Valanciunas over a Şengün, but this time I'm going to go the Şengün pick here. I like his assists, steals, blocks that he can give me. Now, do I double it up and go with Valanciunas? Don't think so. I think I need some more block numbers.
I definitely do.
There's just no one that I love. Maybe I go boring pick.
You take Yusuf Nurkic's 0.6 blocks per game that he averaged last season.
Yeah, surely that has to come up, but I'm not banking on it. I don't love this point in the draft.
No, it is rough.
There's a few different ways I could go. I'm looking at Keldon Johnson, but it doesn't really address my need for big man stats. I'm gonna go. I don't love it, but I'm gonna go John Collins at this point. just because I am trying to still look after my free throw percentage a little bit. I want some more rebounds and block numbers. He won't give me an extreme high amount there, but it'll just be enough. I don't love it though.
No, it's fine. Like it's boring, but it's fine. Like I think.
There goes Keldon Johnson. Maybe I'm having regrets. I don't know.
Yeah, he was. I'm looking at again. My free throws are so high, and we talk about the absence of blocks. I think I'm going to take Pirtle.
Yeah, I
considered free throws to really kill you.
I considered Pirtle, but I don't think I'm as strong as you are in free throws.
No, and like my free throws still projected 87. My scoring still projects at 24, which I can absorb that Pirtle pick.
Yeah, I like me some Jakob Pirtle.
I don't know who else I could look at there in this spot. It's too early for Isaiah Jackson. Jaren Jackson's hurt. Larry Markelle doesn't block shots. Jabari Smith, probably a little early. Well, it's not terribly early. I think it's just got to be Pirtle here. Unless Adam decides the same thing. I think Adam will go.
I don't think Adam will go.
Valanciunas? Oh, he went for Sal.
Back-to-back for Sal.
He tried to snipe me on Vassell again. He tried to snipe me on him again. I think I'm just going to take Pirtle. There you go. I could have gone with Valanciunas, but he's not a high shot blocker.
Yeah.
And I am worried a bit about Valanciunas this season, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm not expecting him to improve. I am expecting him to come back a little bit, but he has produced in limited minutes before. I think.
Yep.
There he goes straight after. I think, was it?
How does he find the usage though? Like, how does he find the usage? He's fourth option at best offensively. Not at best. He's going to be fourth option offensively. Like, yeah. And then they're probably going to want to integrate Trey Murphy a little bit more. So you're adding Zion's 30 minutes, 20 touches, 20 field goal attempts. You're probably adding a little bit more Trey Murphy. You've got a full season of CJ. You got Jackson Hayes almost exclusively playing at the 5. Not that Jackson Hayes is cutting into Valanciunas, but
yeah,
I just think it's going to be a lot harder. I'm worried that he still might play 27 a night, but it's not 30, it's not 31. I'm a little worried about that.
Yeah, it's the Pelicans' rotation is really hard to sort of pick how they're going to actually run it functionally. I honestly don't know if Jackson Hayes makes the lineup, the regular rotation. I wonder how much
surely he'll be ahead of
ball.
Hernan Gomez.
I'm wondering how much small ball they'll play. So, there goes Paolo. Paolo at 63. It's a little early for me.
Agree. What do you think of Maxey? Raptors took Maxey at 64.
Maxey, I'd have him a little bit further back, just because
I do too.
Yeah, he's not. He doesn't excel in anything in particular. I just think that we thought he was going to get drop his ranking a little bit when James Harden came over. It didn't affect him as much as we thought, but he still did lose a little bit in his assists. I think that he's a good percentage guy. He's a good point scorer, but outside of that, he's not a huge steals assist dude. So I think I'd rather take like a Jamal Murray at that point in the draft because I think there's just a bit more upside.
After Maxey, it was Giddey, Porter, Michael Porter, and Jamal Murray. So there you go, those guys gone. But with Maxey, when he played with Harden and Embiid, he had a usage of like 17 or 18%, which is really low. And the reason he was able to get by is he shot 45% from three.
His efficiency was crazy. Yeah.
And you can't rely. Like the dude was, again, it's something we talked about earlier on. Like if we had talked about Tyrese Maxey at the start of last season, which I did a lot, like, hey, take him your last pick, even though Doc Rivers was debating, hey, do I start him or Shake Milton? Thankfully, Shake Milton got hurt and Doc couldn't make the wrong choice because he definitely would have made the wrong choice.
Yeah, how silly was that decision in retrospect? Like,
but it was blindingly obvious at the time. It was like, do not start Shake Milton. No. Shake Milton's terrible. Please start Tyrese Maxey. But Doc was going to start Shake until he got hurt. But Maxey was a 30% three-point shooter as a rookie. And he was not a good three-point shooter at Kentucky either. So now we just go, now he's the top 3 three-point shooter in the NBA, and he just isn't. So, and look, unless you do it again, I don't trust that he's that level of shooter, and that's really what buoyed so much of his value. I love him as a player, but I don't trust that at all.
Yeah, it's those kind of guys that if like the field goal percentage drops or the three-point percentage drops, it hurts a lot of his value. It's like the similar kind of thing that Michael Porter Jr. had last year, but to a lesser extent, I would say. And it does concern me. So I'd probably have him a couple of rounds back, but I'd rather like a Jamal Murray, who I think will be fine after his injury at that sort of a spot.
Yeah, I'm not worried about Jamal Murray's injury really. It's an ACL. Like ACLs are like, they're not quite, but they're like broken arms at this point in modern medical.
Oh, it's the most researched injury in sports. Like
people
by a long way.
Totally fine. Yeah. He'll be a little rusty the first month or so, but but he's going to be fine.
But yeah, you just deal with that. You deal with that. Franz Wagner at 69. I think that's about the right spot for him.
I agree.
He's again. Oh, now Jordan Poole. I wanted to get your thoughts on Jordan Poole. I see him at this spot as a bit of a bust candidate. I'm worried about Jordan Poole and how he fits in with Clay and Steph both healthy, because he was not good coming off the bench last year.
No, you're right. He wasn't. I've got him lower than this. I think there is real risk associated with him for sure. I'm a little worried about a lot of the Warriors guys. Like last season, Klay Thompson's usage was way ahead of Steph.
It was high.
Like, how does that? It was so high. Like, I don't know how that impacts Steph. I don't know how it impacts Poole. Poole to me is a guy that I probably wouldn't take in the top 80.
Yeah, he's outside there for me.
Maybe he's in the 90 sort of area.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got him about the similar sort of spot. I think I've got he and Maxey pretty close together in that kind of a zone. Yeah, I'm just worried.
I agree.
I mean, he could come out, and I think he'll be better than what he showed, but I'm pretty sure there was like 15 games last year where both Steph and Clay were healthy, and he was coming off the bench averaging like 25 minutes a night. I think he put up like 14 points and, like 2 assists, a 3.5. Like, it was pretty terrible numbers. I don't think he's going to be that bad, but I just don't think that the upside is there unless one of those guys gets hurt, and I don't think you can sort of project that. Kevin Porter Jr. at 72 is an interesting one. I'm in on Kevin Porter Jr. this year. I think he's a great pick, especially for a punt free throw team.
Yeah, I would have. He was in. Who did I pick? He was in my mix. If I didn't need blocks, I probably would have taken him ahead of Pirtle last pick. I got no problem with grabbing him in the 60s. Really, where are we now? We're at 72. Yeah. I got no problem with it. Again, starting point guards, you can average 6 or 7 assists, so it's hard to find. There's not many of them left. And if you want that, you got to get him.
Yeah.
You can't find, like, Jalen Brunson's still there, Lowry and Smart, but they've all got detractions as well. You can talk about Porter's percentages, but these other guys have issues to a degree. Not that Brunson's not a particularly high assist player. It just really depends. But I got no problem with him there at all. A
lot of people are focusing on Jalen Green's kind of breakout at the end of the season, but Kevin Porter Jr. had like a similar, if not better, sort of turnaround in his stats. So I'm in the camp that they're pretty close, and obviously they provide some different things. But I'd almost be taking Kevin Porter Jr. over Jalen Green, and Keegan Murray going at 73. Okay, before Jabari. Jabari hasn't gone, has he? No,
he hasn't. That's too early. I don't see the point of it.
Yeah,
I literally just recorded a show on rookies today, Mitch. How many? Because you wouldn't have seen it. It's literally just got the league. How many rookies over the last 5 years? What's the average amount of rookies that have finished top 120?
120? Mm-hmm. I feel like we've had a couple of poor draft class before last year. I'll say 2.
No, it's almost higher than that. It's actually 5.
Oh, okay.
The average.
Yeah.
Top 120. I think it's 3 top 100 players.
Yeah.
And
okay.
It's 5. Like last year we had 6 top 120 guys.
Yeah, last year was
3 top 120 guys.
Yeah. Yeah, but last year was a bit of an outlier. I mean, this year, there's a couple of the big guys.
It's not a good rookie class, though.
No, but in terms of fantasy, I think some of those like forwards and centers will translate a bit better than some of the others. But yeah, I think Keegan Murray. I just don't think he's all that exciting, and I'd definitely take Jabari over him. Colin Sexton.
I would too.
Let's talk about Colin Sexton at 75. Where do you have him after the move? Is this sort of around the spot you've got him there? I think I've got him a little bit later, but I don't hate it.
No, I'm just trying to look on my list. I'm pretty sure he's around this spot for me. I think this is totally fine. I'm also going to be looking at the guy who was traded with him, and that is Lauri Markkanen around this spot as well. But let's see, Markkanen's ranked 122.
Yeah,
now,
that's insane.
Again, if I was playing against people who didn't know what they were doing, his ADP is 121. I could let him slide somewhat. But I actually think at this pick 78 spot for Lowry, I think it makes quite a bit of sense given the way that team currently looks.
Yeah, I think the only thing that worries me is that he's averaged like 25 points a night before, and he's been still outside the top 100. But like we sort of said before, it's hard to find those points later in drafts. So I do think you draft him ahead of where you think he's eventually going to be ranked. But I think it's about spot. I want to talk about Tobias Harris because he is like Jordan Poole. He's someone that I think is a big bust candidate because I think that there goes Lowry. I think Tobias Harris, he was the one that got affected by James Harden coming over the most. And after that trade, he was outside the top 100 last year. And we were saying about him being really boring as soon as he loses a bit of usage. I'm pretty out on Tobias Harris. I don't think I'd be taking him inside the top 100 personally.
I've got him at 98, so he's around that. Yeah, it's too early for me. I agree. He lost everything. When
he just
Harden came across.
He doesn't do enough in one category or something like that. It's just
That's it. He needs the ball. He needs usage, and it's why it could be Alan Collins, Sexton, Wiz, and Cleveland. But when he goes to Utah and he has the ball, the same with Markelle, because they don't do anything else, then it's fine. I have to reassess what I'm doing here.
Yeah, you're on the clock, mate.
People are picking guys ahead of me. I would have taken Markelle in there, but I obviously will not be doing that anymore. I think I'm going to do it just again. Get some assists, really buffer that out. I'm going to take D'Angelo Russell.
Yep, I think that's a good
pick. Pick 80. I know he's had his detractors. He bloody needs to play well, though. If they're going to be good, there's no other option there. He needs to play well.
He doesn't have much of a backup, and they're going to be all in this year.
No, they need him to really step it up.
Okay, my assists.
I was debating Nurkic there as well.
Yeah, my assists need some attention. Who shall fall to me? What'll we go? And I've got a couple of picks. Who's the punt free throw guy going to go? He's going to go a Nurkic or a Wood. Surely Nurkic. He goes a Wood here.
Yeah, or Randall. Randall's the other one.
Buddy Hield. Adam with Buddy.
I don't know how I feel about Buddy.
Yeah, he's a hard one.
Indiana.
His assists were so random last year. Yeah. Do you think he repeats that? If he stays in Indiana, do you think those assists are there again? If he goes anywhere else, I don't think it's going to be there. But
this is the issue with him is that, people are like, oh, no, they'll just start Duarte and Mathurin and bring Hield off the bench. And I think there's almost no way they do that. If Hield remains there, he will start and play big minutes. This Indiana team does not have a huge taste for tanking. They don't want to do it. Their owner hates that. And they did it over the last month or so of the season. But people get this tanking idea in their head and think, well, you know what's going to happen? These teams are no good, so they're just going to bench every veteran and play the young guys 35 minutes a night from October. And it just doesn't happen. It might happen in February. It might happen in March. It definitely happens in April. It just doesn't happen to begin the year. So, Charlotte might be bad, but Mark Williams isn't playing 30 minutes a night in October. I'm telling you now, he's not. It might happen in March. It might happen in February. It just won't happen. And I don't think Hield is going to play 22 minutes a night for a guy that pisses and moans as much as he does. It's just not going to happen straight away.
Yeah, no, it'll be definitely like that to start the season. I wonder if he's traded. But
that's
it's
the
hard,
risk, isn't it?
It's hard to know. All right, now I'm looking at... I'm going to be selecting Marcus Smart here just to get some assists and steals. My field goal percentage, I think, is pretty good. I can absorb that from him. So he's going to be my pick at pick 84. And then I'm deciding between a PJ Washington and a Jalen Smith, I think, at this spot.
I'd recommend that you leave Jalen Smith for me.
Well, I was leaning towards him because I think his block numbers are going to be a bit higher. And hearing you say that, I do like me some PJ, but I think I need the block numbers from Jalen because I'm still...
Why don't you take his teammate then? You can take Isaiah Jackson.
Too early for me for him. Yeah. I'll take...
legitimate top 40 upside though.
He does.
Jackson has top 40 upside.
I did my first bust video the other day, and I contentiously put Isaiah Jackson on that list.
I did hear that. Too.
Yeah, and it was more just a debate because I wasn't even sold on it myself because I really like him, and I had him as a sleeper before the adjustments at 85. It just, I don't know. There's more proven talent still around at that point, and he might get there. But he also might not. Do you know what I mean? So it could be a wasted pick for 3 months of the season, and who knows where you're at that time. Well. Yeah,
it's your sixth pick.
Yeah, exactly. It's a bit hard. Yeah, especially
that goes Christian Wood, by the way.
Yeah, That's good value, honestly. At 86 and a punt free throw team, that's a great pick, to be honest, for me.
It is. Now, I have Jackson in my queue. I have PJ Washington in my queue. I did have Jalen Smith before you took him. But Klay Thompson goes,
That's not bad.
I'm going to, at this point, it's very hard for me to overlook Yusuf Nurkic. Sure, his blocks were bad last season, but they've always been good in the past. And speaking to some Blazers guys, they think it was a lot of scheme adjustment stuff, and that will start to pick up. It can't be that bad. It surely can't be that bad. I don't think he's going to be 2 blocks a game, but
you should get close to
it
1.
surely can't be that bad. Yeah, at least at 1. All right, let's go with Nurkic. There we go. Nurkic. It's late enough where I don't think that'll create too much controversy.
We don't have the sound graphic, but I guess you're ready to get hurt again there, Josh. With
I can play the sound. I don't know whether you'll hear it though.
Oh, okay. Well, give it a try.
No, it's my setup. You can't hear it. It only plays on my end.
I'm sure your listeners can just visualize it and hear it in their own heads. There goes Kyle Lowry. I think he was another one in my queue, but I ended up taking Marcus Smart over him. I think that's good value for him at pick 90. I know he's old, but Miami don't have a lot of other options, to be honest, at point guard. Their lineup and their roster is scarily thin, in my opinion, in Miami.
No, they've got these bunch of guys like Hero and Strus and Gabe Vincent and Duncan Robinson who are all fine, but their forwards are disgusting. Like, are they relying upon Nikola Jovic? God, I hope not. It's
an interesting one. I do think that Jovic will get some minutes this year, but
I think he's actually really bad. At this point, anyway. I don't think that he's going to. I don't think he's going to. I think he's bad.
I think there's some upside there, but obviously he's a rookie, and most rookies are just bad. Jeremy Grant at 92.
Haywood Highsmith.
I don't even know who that is.
I'm telling you, they're probably going to start Caleb Martin, or they might start Haywood Highsmith, and that is a real player. He played for the Sixers a while ago, played for the Sixers G League team, played for the Heat towards the end of last season. He's just in that mold of Max Strus, Gabe Vincent, Duncan Robinson. Like, who's this boy?
Yeah, Heat do that, don't they? Yeah, they just have these random guys come on and they end up producing well. So maybe we should keep an eye on them.
He's the one to watch. Just watch how they run him and Caleb Martin in the preseason. But he's not a great player. He's like 6'7", 6'8", big enough. He's strong. He's a good defensive player. We'll
probably stream him in at some point, like we did Yosevin last year. There'll be someone from the Miami Heat that'll come from nowhere.
There will be. It's Marcus Garrett, one of those random guys.
Yeah. All right, what have we had happen the last couple of picks? Kyle Lowry, PJ Washington, Jeremy Grant. There goes Isaiah Jackson at 93. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Look, it's better than 85. Like you said, though, in a 14-team league with your 7th pick, I don't know. I'd want to be getting him outside pick 100, 110 if I could. I love him. I've got him in a lot of dynasty leagues. I'm a big fan of his game. I'm a big fan of his per-minute production, but Miles Turner's still there. Badatse's still there. You've still got Jalen Smith. Is he exclusively a power forward?
Goga's going to go to jail. I don't know. Did you see what happened yesterday?
Oh, no. What happened with Goga? I must have missed it.
Furkan Korkmaz got ejected in a game against Georgia, and Goga and 2 other guys, and I think Georgian police just bashed Furkan in the heading back to the locker room.
Oh, damn.
So I think he's in real trouble. I don't know what's going to happen exactly. I don't know the full details. I know that he attacked Furkan Korkmaz in the tunnel as he's getting ejected.
Okay,
he's a little fiery. He's a little fiery, Goga.
Okay. All right. Well, we don't have to worry about Goga anymore. But I still think that, Jackson, he's a tough one for me to get a read on. But I really like him. I don't know if I feel safe enough at this point.
No, I get that completely. Like, if we had some... Look, if Miles Turner gets traded tomorrow, then I'm probably taking him in the top 60, to be honest.
Yeah. He goes, that Şengün kind of area.
Yep.
Yeah.
If Turner's traded, he'll finish ahead of Şengün, I'm pretty confident. He won't play power forward. I'm pretty confident in saying that as well.
Yeah. But then there's the risk, like, what if Turner's traded for another centre? Like, what if they get someone else coming back?
True.
Like, you could be stashing
Damian
this
Jones.
guy the whole time. And... the reward might be huge, but you don't know that. That's just my hesitation there. So, yeah, especially with other guys on the board. True. Brandon Clark at 97. I'd be more in on Brandon Clark than I would be on Isaiah Jackson, just because at least I know 100% that I'm getting awesome production at the start of the season. and then I can figure out the rest later.
What if Jaren's back 1st of November? He won't be, but what if he is?
I'm hedging my bets to say that he won't.
I don't think he will be either.
Yeah. I mean, I know I'm not a big handcuffer, but would you be more inclined to, because I think they'll go around a similar spot, get a Clark and a JJJ together? Like if you're Julian's team, are you looking at Jaren Jackson on the next pick here, if he's there?
Not in a 14-team league. It's too early for a guy that might miss 3-4 months. I'm just not taking him or Lonzo really at all.
Yeah, I'm more worried about Lonzo than with JJJ, which is, I didn't think I'd ever say that, but...
Yeah, the Lonzo stuff's really worrying.
Yeah.
Really worrying.
Yeah, I remember I had him in a few leagues last year, and I was hoping he'd be back for my fantasy playoffs. And
I was talking to my brother about that yesterday. I was I held him. It's 4 or 5 weeks. He'll be fine. It's 8 months later. Yeah,
that was me too. I was like, okay, he's a top 30 player. I need him for my team. Like, I think I dropped someone else ahead of him. Anthony Simons goes. I like Anthony Simons this year. I feel like he's getting underrated a little bit. At pick 100, I have him in a similar area to where like Maxey and Poole were going, and I feel like...
What do you like about him?
Oh, he's going to give me good threes, good free throw percentage, some assists are going to be there, the points will be nice. Like I just see him as that Maxey Poole type player. Obviously, the rebounds, the blocks are not there at all, but for what I'm going to get at pick 100, I think it's pretty solid. I know Lillard's going to affect him, but I still think he's going to be much improved.
Yeah, the numbers with him playing with Lillard are bad. Like that's my concern. I know he's an improved player, but much like when we talked about someone earlier on, Garland, I think it was, obviously to a different degree, but Simon's had like a 5-6 week stretch of being great when Lillard and McCollum and Nurkic were all gone. Like that was it. His usage is like 18% when he shares a court with Lillard without McCollum. He got assists only because the ball was put in his hands, and it won't be in his hands as much. I'm a little... I think 100's fine for him.
Yeah.
I'm a little worried that everything he did was when everything was geared around him. Hey, Anthony, can you play 38 minutes, have 32 usage and touch the ball every time, when every number when he's played with the Lids, like you are just a catch and shoot option. And he's better than that, but I'm a little worried that how the numbers that he produced were in a situation that was just not going to happen. It's just has no chance of happening this season.
Oh, he'll definitely drop from last year, but I think it's we might have swung a bit too far the other way. Like I was more comparing him to like a Poole and a Maxey who went in the 5th round. You're getting Simons in the 8th round. I feel like they're much closer. I get
the value of that.
Yeah, they're much closer in my opinion than where they are in this draft.
I have Maxey ahead though of those.
Yeah, I do too. I do too. Yeah. I just think that they're pretty close. I wanted to highlight Markelle Fultz as a player who went, and Gary Trent Jr. as well. I think... What are your thoughts on Gary Trent? Because he's someone who, obviously, the steals were out of the blue crazy high last year. He was like a top 50 guy for the season, and now we're drafting him at pick 100 or pick 99. Are we just completely ignoring those steals? Do we have to put a little bit of stock into them? Like, how are we valuing Gary Trent?
I think he's a fake top 50 guy. Let's be honest. Like in no circumstance do you look at that and go, "Man, I wish I took him in round 4." Like that's
no,
fake.
yeah,
like he's not a top 50 guy. Those steals were out of the blue. Someone told me I should have been able to predict those steals that happened.
Oh, you couldn't.
Absolutely, there's no way. Like you're going to go, "Hey, I'm going to pick one random player and say they're going to double their steal rate," because you just can't do it. Steals are the least stable stat year on year. They change quite a bit, and they have the biggest influence on fantasy numbers if they drop by 0.2, 0.3 a game. It's 30, 40 spots already. Trent is so inconsistent with his shooting. My other problem is talking to Raptors people, they think, hey, at some point they think they're going to start a center and that's going to be Precious Achiuwa. You know who's going on the bench? Gary Trent. Gary Trent's going on the bench in that situation. So,
well, it's not Scotty Barnes, Pascal Siakam, and OG, so...
No, it's definitely Trent. He goes to the bench there, and they have no bench guard. So he'll get his shots, but he shoots like 41%.
Yeah.
He doesn't really get to the line. He's not an assist or rebound guy. His value was almost exclusively steals, and that's fine, but how trustworthy... Like, it's much like a similar thing to, say, DeJounte Murray even, who averaged 2 steals. Those guys were both top 3 or top 4 in steals per game. If I'm relying upon someone to do something at a top 3 level in the NBA again, who's not a top 3 or top 10 or top 20 player, I think you're not in for a great time if you're relying upon that to drive their value. And I've got to think about my pick.
Yeah,
but what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. I think he's a tough one for me to get a pick on. I think that you can't just ignore it all completely. I think he definitely benefits if you're punting field goal percentage, which I'd be wanting to do with the Gary Trent Jr. But yeah, I think at that spot he's fine. I'd be also willing to take him a little bit earlier, but just only if I need what he gives me. Oh, now you've gone to Jalen Suggs there. I like the pick. He's a guy that I'm pretty keen on. Where do you think he can finish this year? Like, what are you expecting from Suggsy?
So I think worst case for him is top 150. I think best case is top 75. Like he does have a really good fantasy game. He just couldn't hit any shots last season at all. But I thought already, like we don't see this often, but Mitch, there was so many good rookie defenders last season. It just doesn't happen. Yeah. And he was really good. And that gets him on the court. Gary Harris is hurt to start the season, so that gets him on the court. Yeah, if he averaged 14, 4 and 4 with 1.5 steals and hit 2 threes a game and at least did it at 43% instead of 38%, I'm okay with it there. Obviously, because I did it, but I'm okay with him there.
I like it. I like it a lot. I think he's about that spot for me. I think he's one of my favourite late round flyers. Obviously, it's not as late in this point. Oh, RJ Barrett, that's disgusting.
Punt free throw there. That's a punt free throw guy. That's all right.
Yeah, he's still not this high. Okay, let's have a look. I was looking at Jaren Jackson Jr., but he's gone. What am I at? Pick 112. Okay. Lonzo Ball sitting at the top of my draft. Probably don't want to do that yet in a 14-team league. All right, let's go with my boring safe pick here. Last-ditch effort to get some good assists. I'll get my Monty Morris, same as I did last draft. It's going to turn into a bit of a my guy. Not that I'm all that excited. And
his upside's low, but he's fine.
He's fine. Yeah, I think, at this point, to get those assists before they really dry up, I'm happy to get him at this spot in the draft. And then I think this is about where I'd be willing to go on a Jared Vanderbilt. I agree. In my punt threes build, I like him. My scoring should be decent enough. Steals, rebounds. I think that's where I'm going to go. At 113. What's that?
Oh, yeah, you took him. I was going to take him. We skipped over it. What do you reckon about Jaden Ivey going at 105?
Yeah, I was going to go back to that one. Way too early for me, especially in a 14-team league. I'm of the mindset and opinion that he's going to be bad. And if you want to take him in your last couple of picks in a normal league, fine. There's a chance he is good. Oh my God, Alex Caruso 114. Jeez.
That's people panicking about Lonzo Ball.
Okay. But yeah, back to Ivy, especially you're at pick 8 in a 14-team league draft. Jaden Ivey could be outside the top, like 250 to start the season. And yeah, I wouldn't want to have that on my roster just to drag my team down to start the year. I think it's too early. He's exciting, but his fantasy translation is nowhere near as good as what he kind of looks like he could be on the court.
What does he do that's good?
Score, maybe, but that's about it.
Maybe.
Yeah, score inefficiently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want Kuzma here. Adam's going to take him around. And I'm not...
Adam loves his punt field goal build. I'm
not a big Kuzma fan, but he loves it. He does, you're right.
I feel like this is the same kind of team he had last time, or very similar, like the Bays, the Heels, the Vassels.
Yeah, he definitely did get Bay and Vassell last time, didn't he?
He's got a type, Adam.
Yeah, he does.
Bonesy.
Bones. All right, that's good. I'll take Kuzma. That's an easy snag for me. All right, so here's a question for you. It's completely unrelated to this draft. So I met up with Adam last week.
Yeah,
I think it was last week. Yeah, met up with him. He's really tall. He's like 6'6". How tall are you?
I'm like 6'1", so I'd be the shortest in that group. So yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I'm like 6'3", 6'4", but Adam's like huge. He's so big.
Yeah, I saw some comments on that. Just the fact that like people were surprised how tall you were. I was like, oh, hold on, how tall's Adam? Like, what's going on here? You all look like normal people to me, but I guess you're all just tall.
No, Adam's 6'6", so I'm like 6'4".
There you go.
And B-Dub, who was there as well, I think he's like maybe 6'1". About probably your height, I'd say.
Yeah. So, yeah, no, I'm a guard. That's for sure.
Yeah, well, I'm a centre because I can't shoot or dribble.
I think didn't Adam have an injury recently or something like that? His ACL?
Yeah, he tore his ACL. Yeah.
Oh, damn. There goes Russell Westbrook. We should touch on that one at 118. Who picked that one?
Jeff.
Is that a punt, field goal, or free throw team? No. Yeah, I'm not about it. I want nothing to do with Westbrook this year.
All right, so here's the question that I've been sort of asking myself, and I've probably said it in my podcast because I talk too much. What do you think is more likely? Westbrook plays 0 minutes or averages over 30 minutes a game?
Jeez.
Zero total minutes or over 30 minutes a game? What's more likely?
I think it's more likely that he plays 30 minutes than 0. I think.
Where's he playing 30 minutes a night? Which team?
Oh, I don't think he's playing 30 minutes per night. Don't get me wrong. Look, what I think will happen is he'll play 30 minutes a night for the first month. They'll try and force it. They'll try and showcase him for a trade. They'll realize that no one wants him, and then and then he'll sit down. That's the way I see it playing out. I don't think he's going to just sit from the start of the season, because I think that's like the Lakers kind of conceding and just giving up on him. I don't think they're ready to do that yet. But yeah, it's tough. If you had said, if he'd average, I don't know. I just don't want anything to do with Russell Westbrook because I've got no idea. There's a legitimate reason he's retired by the end of the season.
For sure.
He just won't. He won't adjust. He won't change his game style. I don't.
Can he even adjust at this point? I don't even know if I don't even think he can adjust.
Yeah.
We did say that with someone like, I was talking to my son about this, about
Melo.
how Vince Carter was able to adjust his game, like just became this like elite role player guy, and Melo did it to a degree last season as well. If Russ doesn't have the ball, what does he? He can't defend.
He can't shoot. Yeah.
Like what role player does he actually become? Because those guys became shooters, and he can't shoot.
I mean, you can still have him as like a 16-minute, 18-minute a night guy coming off the bench and just, your microwave scorer and just putting pressure on the team's defense. But is Russell Westbrook going to be happy in that kind of a role? I can't see him saying yes to that. But if he was, then maybe. But yeah, I don't know. I don't see it happening personally. But I think he will be. I think he will be playing to start the season because I just don't see the Lakers just going, you're going to sit on the bench. But it might not be for long.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how that all plays out, isn't it? Because I just don't know. Like, I think if he gets traded, he'll be to a team that buys him out, and then who signs him? If he gets traded before the season starts, then where does he play? That's what my real worry is.
I was trying to think. I think in this bus show, I put it out to my listeners. I said, who would take Westbrook? And the only team that I could even like half talk myself into was a Washington Wizards team, but they've had him on their roster before, so I couldn't think of any team that would even just pick him up for nothing, just because there's just no use for him on any roster.
It doesn't make any sense for maybe the Spurs, but I don't think so.
I don't think the Spurs prioritize their culture and that kind of stuff over whatever the hell Westbrook can provide. I don't see them doing that.
Yeah, I just don't know. It's so weird.
We were talking before about Gary Trent Jr. and how you can't come out and project a player doubling their steals. I'm going to have a go. This is my stab in the dark, and I want this on record if it does happen, which it won't. But if it does happen, my prediction is Jaden McDaniels is going to double his steals this year. There you go. That's my wild stab in the dark.
Okay. Why?
It won't happen. I just think he's a great defender. It hasn't translated to steals yet, but if anyone could, I think it would be him playing a bit more at the 3 this year. I think on the perimeter.
It's interesting. Someone asked me this question the other day, which I think is going to tie into this. They went, "Hey, Josh, Jaden McDaniels, is there a chance that he becomes Jonathan Isaac for fantasy?" And I went, "No. He's not that level of defensive stats guy, but you seem to think he's got that ability to jump that up."
Not like Jonathan Isaac level where he was like 2 steals, 2 blocks, but I think that he could get to a steal and a half where I think he was under a steal a game last year. So I think he has that potential. But like I said, it's just me wildly throwing a dart out there just to say if it does happen that I told you so. When no one else did, but yeah, there's just a little bit in the back of my mind. I like Jaden McDaniels. I think I was high on him last year. It ended up kind of fizzling out, but I hold out
low on him last year.
Yeah,
because I was just like, how does he? Like, he's going to battle minutes, but like, where is the usage? And now I look at it and go, again, where is the usage?
I'm fizzling down a little bit there. I'm fizzling down a little bit, but I'm holding out a little bit of hope. He was one of my guys last year. I'm not going to give up on him.
All right, here's a wild thing. I think you're going to take wild things. I think there's a chance that Jalen McDaniels ends up with a better fantasy rank than Jaden.
Ooh,
no Miles Bridges. Gordon Hayward, we can't trust for his health. Jalen McDaniels is in a better chance to get more shots than usage. And I think that Jaden will play more minutes. But if this now, it requires a bit to happen. It requires Hayward to get hurt. But okay, that's not a stretch. Jalen could play 28 minutes a night, could average 15 and 6, I think, on that team. That's probably a 10% chance of happening, but it's not as like...
No, it's not crazy.
Wild to say that can happen. Yeah,
especially on that Hornets roster with what they've got going on and the injury-prone guys there. So yeah, no, I can see it happening. Definitely.
All right, so so people can know how I react. I'm waiting on Isaiah Stewart to get back to me with this next pick. We'll see if he makes it.
Okay,
I don't think he will.
You've got 4 guys in front of you.
Yep, no. I don't think he will.
Will Barton. What are these last few picks be? I feel like in a 14-team league draft, like a lot of these guys are a bit more safe. You've got a Dorian Finney-Smith there, Harrison Barnes. They're all kind of boring, safe picks. But you can't. Oh, Pokusevski going at 133. Yeah,
that's not a boring one.
Yeah, that's not as boring. I don't know how I feel about that.
It's part of my criticism I had with Yahoo yesterday is that after Chet Holmgren went down, they reduced Pokusevski's ranking. They dropped him down like 80 spots.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
After Chet went down. Like, at least make what you do make sense.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think Poku is going to be worth this pick, but I do know that his fortune's definitely improved with Chet going down.
Any chance he starts, you reckon?
No, I don't think so. I think they'll go with Baisley and
Trey Murphy.
These guys. We still haven't filled out our starting lineup.
I was going to say
we're taking flyers here.
Everyone knows we're doing 14 teams, right? Like we've got several more picks to go. I mean, at this kind of spot in a normal draft, I'd be okay with it. But yeah, we've still got a few more picks left to make. Walker Kessler, I think that's a good pick there.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to take Isaiah Stewart, but I agree that Kessler's got City with upside there. I think the Mitchell trade actually hurt him, though.
It did. I agree. I still think... Yeah, what do you think they're doing with their front court rotation? Like, Markkanen comes in at the 4, do you think? And,
I
then
do
what?
think so.
Vanderbilt's at the 5 or Kessler's at the 5?
I don't think Vanderbilt can be a full-time center.
No, neither.
I think they might try it because there's at least Lowry's height there. But I think that from where you were before, where it was going to be Kessler and Azubuike basically splitting all those minutes, now Vanderbilt's probably going to play 20, 23 minutes as a center, which takes a bit away from Kessler and Azubuike. So maybe the 26 minutes that Kessler might have got might be now 21. I still think he's a good pick at this spot because Azubuike is trash. Like, he's no good.
Yep.
And I don't think they play Markkanen at 3 very much at all, if at all. But the teams, I've got no idea. Like, there's still 4 blokes that are probably going to get traded. And are they going to get traded for picks, players, for prospects? I have no idea.
Yeah, no, it's all up in the air still. In my head, I'm kind of just not counting those guys that are on there, the veterans. But like you said, they could get something back. So yeah, it's hard to project. At the moment, I feel like
and got 3 players back.
At the moment, I feel like they'd have like a kind of a 3-man rotation to fill those 2 spots with Vanderbilt, Markkanen, and Kessler. I don't know. Does Azubuike and Jonathan Isaac? Man, we're really taking flyers here, guys. What's going on? Sorry, you have a chat while I have
to play.
Yeah,
you have to play 12, 13 minutes. I think because I don't think you can have your full-time center rotation be Vanderbilt and Kessler. I don't think they'll last with fouls, to be honest. But you'll need someone else in there. And you don't want to play Markkanen at center because we talk about Nurkic having a bad block rate. The Markkanen is embarrassing. Like, he can't do anything. So I think that you need. Like, Azubuike has played the last couple of years, like not much, but he's played some minutes when he hasn't done multiple season-ending ankle injuries. He's played a little bit. I think he'll get 10 to 15.
Yeah,
and he's a really good shot blocker too. We'll see. We also don't know what their coach is going to do. We don't know what his preferences or tendencies are. Like, I know what Steve Clifford's are. I don't know what Will Hardy's are. I've got no idea. He's never coached before as a full-time head coach.
So I've just taken Hartenstein with that pick, a pick 140. I think even in a backup, he can have a chance at meeting those minutes. that ranking there. The other guy I'm about to pick here, I don't love it, but there's a bit of upside, but I still think in a reduced role he could do this, is Robert Covington, I think at 141.
Good pick.
I don't know about it. In my punt threes build, he's kind of value is dropped a little bit, but again, his steals, blocks, I think he'll get some more rebounds playing a backup center. I think that he should be good. How many minutes do you expect for Robert Covington this year? Like, I find him hard to see him getting over like 22 minutes per night.
Yeah, I've got him at 23, so around about that mark.
Yeah.
And there'll be nights to replace 29. He is their backup center, so that's the benefit you have there. Is that they don't have another center.
Yeah.
So he is going to get those minutes there. What do you think about Johnny Kuminga going there?
Again,
we're
doing all these Flyers picks. I feel like it's fine-ish, even though, to be honest, I don't even really like it in the 12-team league. I think there's better Flyers out there, but it's way too early. Way too early for me in a 14-team league when we've still got 3 more picks left. So, I'm not in on Kuminga really. His fantasy game isn't the best.
No, he's bad free throws. I had Wall in my queue, and I had Duarte in my queue. They both just went.
Duarte's good.
This guy is falling a lot. I know I don't expect huge amounts from him, but Aaron Gordon was pretty good last year, and the return of Porter does hurt him, but that 145.
I don't mind in a 14-team league. Yeah, I wouldn't be taking him in a 12-team league because I don't see any upside, but in a 14-team league, I think it's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, like he was top 100 last season. I think he was.
Oh, don't think so. I feel like he's only had like 1 or 2 seasons as a top 100 guy.
Before last year, he definitely only had 1, and I'm just going to double check. I don't remember where he was last season. He was 123rd. Yeah.
Yeah. He's just a terrible fantasy player. But like you said, 123rd in a 14-team league guy. Like there you go, 20 spots of value. And we're not quite into Flyer territory yet, although we should start to get to it now because we filled up our starting roster spots now. So this is where we can start getting crazy.
This is where Lonzo Ball stuff come in.
Yeah, well, I literally, as you said that 5 seconds ago, I put Lonzo in my queue. I was surprised no one's pulled the trigger yet, to be honest. I thought he might have gone by now.
What do you think about Horton Tucker going there?
Again, I kind of feel the same way of him as Kuminga. Maybe a bit more into Horton Tucker than Kuminga, but I don't really love it. I feel like there's this expectation that he's going to come in and put up heaps of minutes and play a huge amount, but I don't really see it. I don't think that the Utah Jazz are going to prioritize him over Sexton or Markkanen or Vanderbilt or anyone like that. So I think, it's not my favorite Fly pick.
No, at the moment, he's not going to play 20 minutes a night with the way that the roster currently looks. And you're right, he needs the ball a lot, and Sexton's going to have it, and that's going to hurt him quite a bit. And we still got those 4 guys that need to... Is it 4 or 3? No, it's 3. Clarkson, Conley, Bogdanovic. That needs to be moved on from. I think a lot of people also get confused as they see Colin Sexton as a point guard, which he absolutely is not. So they think, well, Sexton will start at point, and then Horton Tucker will play off ball or something like that. Yeah. Or, Agbaji will be the shooting guard, like Sexton's the shooting guard.
Yeah, oh, that's right. You still got Agbaji there as well. Yeah. Nah, I'm not in on it.
Not me either. It needs a lot more to happen before I get excited about him.
Yeah. I think there's, I don't know, maybe there's like a leftover Laker excitement factor. I feel like that might be a thing. I don't know.
He had a couple of big games. He had a 40-point game at one point. But it's like everything needs to be, and this is what I always preach this caution, Mitch, is that when everything needs to be tailored around a guy,
Brook Lopez at 149.
Have these big numbers.
Yeah.
There's no long-term value in that because nobody's going to build their team around Taylor Horton Tucker. No. It's the same thing. Yeah, Kendrick Nunn used to have that as well. In Miami, Jimmy Butler's out, everyone's out. Kendrick Nunn's putting up these huge numbers. And then when everyone came back, he'd have 10 points on, 44% shooting with 1 assist and 2 rebounds or something because he wasn't the only guy who could do something at that point. There goes Lonzo, by the way.
Yeah, Lonzo at 151. I think that's a great spot to get him. I'm surprised he didn't go earlier. I considered him instead of Covington, but I wanted just one more guy on my bench before I went for him, so I was never really expecting to get him. But 151.
Yeah, he was in my queue coming back for sure.
He doesn't play much this season. Whatever, you just drop him. Top 30 upside. So You can't get that, really.
Yeah, I actually don't think he's got top 30 upside this season because I just don't think he's going to play the 35 minutes a night that he played. Like,
no, you're probably right.
Fully healthy Lonzo Ball, 35 minutes a night, he's a top 30 upside player, but I don't think there's any way that he plays 35 minutes a night.
Yeah, no, you're probably right. But yeah, even still, that pick 151. And the other one I noticed there, Brook Lopez at 149. That's awesome value, especially in a 14-team league.
He's in my queue too.
Yeah, I was considering him over Hartenstein, but sort of thought Hartenstein had a bit more upside.
Yeah, I considered him over Gordon. What do you think of Toppin at 152? With the way things currently are, there's no way he gets there. There's just no...
No, yeah.
Randall needs to be traded. There is no way. Because, A, there's Robinson and Hartenstein, so there's 0 center minutes available for him, and Randall will play 36 a night, so Toppin will get 14.
Yeah.
You're banking on a
trade.
Randall trade.
Yeah.
And what this with Westbrook, who wants him? Who wants him?
I mean, I think before the trade with Utah and Cleveland, like you were hoping that Toppin went over to Utah and that was going to be his path. But now, I think he's stuck on the Knicks and he's basically stuck behind Julius Randle. And he's probably going to lose value from last year, to be honest, with Hartenstein and improvement on Noel.
Yeah. No, look, I was taking him or Grimes or Quickly with the last pick in drafts and going, okay, let's see what happens with the Mitchell trade. Because if any of those go to Utah, they're blowing up.
Yeah.
But they're not going to Utah.
Not happening anymore.
Maybe Randall gets moved, maybe not. I don't see it.
Yeah. No, I'm not about it either. All right, what have we got here? Karis LeVert, KCP. See, these were the guys that I thought we should have been taking, like... Maybe not LeVert, I'm not a big guy, but like that kind of player, I feel like should have been going earlier, and all these Pokashevskis and Trey Murphys and all these other guys, that they were going there, and I feel like this is the area that you should be looking at those guys. But yeah, we've kind of flipped it a bit now.
Yeah, it's weird. Sometimes that happens. All the flyers go, then you get the safer guys later on.
Yeah,
which is an interesting way of approaching it.
Yeah. How do you feel about your team so far here, Josh? We haven't really talked about how we've been constructing the team as much.
I'm not happy about it, to be honest. It doesn't feel great. Like, it's okay. Like, I'm pretty strong in points, assists, got good blocks, good field goals, solid free throws. Like, I'm okay with it. I think it's sort of a middle of the pack team, which is picking middle of the first round is sort of middle of the pack is where you, I guess, expect. And like I've said before, like I don't really like that area. I'd rather be at the top or at the bottom in most of these drafts. And I'm not massively feeling it.
Yeah. What teams do I like so far? I feel like I like Adam's team here.
I like yours. I like Hayes's as well.
Yeah. I feel like the punt free throw team could have done a little bit better, but in still saying that, he's got some good value with a few picks with Christian Wood where he got him, Ben Simmons I like. A couple of later picks I haven't been massively in on, but Jonathan Isaac could work out. Yeah,
he could. But you definitely don't want to trust that.
No, you don't want to rely on it, but yeah, at pick 10. All right, what have we got going around? Mike Conley. What did Mike Conley go at? 153. Where do you? I think at this point it's fine because obviously whilst he's on the Utah Jazz, he's going to beat that ranking. I expect him to be traded somewhere, and he's going to basically be a backup wherever he's traded. Do you have a similar kind of thoughts?
Probably. Yeah, but he's better than that, though. Like, he's better than a backup, but who needs him?
Yeah.
I think that's going to be the problem. The only team I look at, and I don't think they'll do it, did Tari Eason go?
Yeah, he was in my queue.
Yeah, and then Dinwiddie, fucking hell. They were my two guys. The only team I look at now, we talked about him a lot, Lonzo Ball injury, that if the Bulls got Mike Conley.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And their team is not young. Vooch is old. DeRozan's old. Levine is dealing with wonky knees as well. That might be one to look at.
Yeah. I think there's a bit of upside with Mike Conley at that point. No, but to go back to those other guys that just went off, Tari Eason, Spencer Dinwiddie, I'm about that. I'm a big Tari Eason guy. He's someone who I'm going to be very excited this year. I think I went on your show actually and I said that he's going to be the Şengün of this season for me. Just the guy that I'm really excited about that I think will just tease me all season long.
The guy that you hold on for too long.
That's right. Yeah, he's going to be that guy for me. And I'm not going to apologize for it because I like me some Tari Eason. I had him as a top 10 guy in the draft, to be honest. Like a fantasy aside, I actually think he's a good player.
I think he's a pretty good player. I can't remember exactly where I had him. I think I had him a little bit higher than 17. And in my rookie show I did today, I said, yeah, he's a very viable last round pick in a 12-team league. I think he'll start the season coming off the bench. But I think that he will step it up later. Now, it is my pick. I'm going to... It doesn't make a ton of sense on my team because his major value is steal, and I'm not a strong steals team. But I'm going to take Patrick Williams.
You bastard!
He's a starter. He's going to play 30 minutes. And then I'll trade him to you later on.
Oh, God damn it. He was the one guy in my queue. Oh, jeez.
Sorry, my queue just got wiped out. I had Dinwiddie, Herter, Eason, and they all just went bang, bang, bang in the last 3 picks.
I got to go back to the drawing board now. Yeah, what was he? Pick 164. Hell yeah. He'll get close to 28, 30 minutes a night. He's still a young player.
I think he's going to... Who's their other power forward?
Yeah, exactly. Javonte Green or something?
Yeah, literally nobody. There's no other power
6'4".
on that team. It's a very weird roster.
Yeah. Okay, God. What do I want now?
I'm just loading up on flyers now. It's up to my bench to see. We've got 2 picks left. I'm going to take some upside flyers on guys.
All the flyers have already gone. Everyone's taken them all. All right, what have we got?
There's a few sneaky ones out there.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, Boyan, that's who I was going to take. Damn it. I can't believe he lasted that long.
Yeah. Okay, what have we got? What are you doing, Cowboy? Who are you picking?
He's picking Mark Williams, is my guess.
Yeah, that would fit his team.
I've got Mark Williams in my queue, but Tyus Jones, that's a interesting pick.
Okay.
This happened in my mock the other day. Someone mistook Tyus Jones for Trey Jones. I wonder if he did the same thing.
Yeah, T Jones will slip a few people up.
So they did it in it was like round 10 in that draft. I went, Tyus Jones, what are you doing? And then the guy later responded to me and said, I thought it was Trey.
Oh, no. You don't want to make that mistake.
So at 167, I don't think he thought it was Trey, but I guess if Jar is out, then Tyus smashes that number.
Oh, I don't
again,
really,
like you said,
don't really know where I'm going here.
On that. It's your pick.
I've got back-to-back picks, and I don't know who I'm going. All right. I don't love a lot of these guys, but... Let's go and see a little.
Oh, no. Fuck.
Is he someone you're looking at?
Yeah, I've got 4 guys on my queue, and he was at the top of it.
All right, let's see if I can pick another one out.
I've already told you one of them. One of them is Mark Williams.
Yeah, he's someone I'm looking at. I'm looking at James Wiseman as well, although I'm not a big Wiseman fan, but...
Neither am I. But I am looking at him.
He is. It does come into calculations at this point. Let's go... It doesn't fit my build similar to what you were doing before, but I think there's a bit of upside here. I'm going to go with Emmanuel Quickly at 169. I know the trade's come and gone, but there is still, I think, an off chance that he at least gets ahead of Evan Fournier. When Derrick Rose inevitably gets injured, he could see a boost in minutes. So I feel like...
I've got Grimes on my list for that reason.
Yeah? Do you have Grimes ahead of Quickly?
Yes, I do. I think he's going to play more minutes.
Yeah, okay. See, I think I've got Quickly ahead of Grimes more because I like Quickly's fantasy profile better than Grimes.
I agree. If they play the same minutes, it's Quickly very, very easily.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure that they will.
Yeah. I didn't love it. I probably should have taken your guy in Mark Williams, but that's all right. I think I'm pretty good at my big spots.
I've got a big queue here. I'll tell you who's on my queue because you're not going to have a pick before me. So I've got Caleb Martin. I've got Bruce Brown. I've got Mark Williams, Zach Collins in case Pirtle's traded. I've got Precious Achua, Quentin Grimes, and I've got Zaire Williams. These are my flyer guys for my last 2 picks.
Yeah, of those guys, I do like Mark Williams because he's only got Plumlee in his way.
Yeah, so
I know the coach. I know the coach hates rookies, but it's Plumlee.
I'll take Mark here again. We're in a 14-team league. These picks, if it's not working out, like, see you later. Like, he's gone straight away.
Yeah.
But I'll tape Mark there, and then we'll see what ends up getting back to me. Like, yeah,
He honestly could be the 173rd ranked player in 20 minutes a night. You know, like he could.
Well, if you want to talk about guys who could be 170th in 20 minutes a night, JaVale McGee's still sitting there.
Yeah,
he's going to be the starting centre, and he actually puts up good fantasy numbers. And I've just added him to my queue as well. It's low upside, but
yeah, low upside relative to a normal draft. But at 180, whenever you're going to pick him next, yeah,
could he be top 120? Like, yeah, maybe. I think so.
Yeah, well, there's that every chance that like he's apparently the starter. You know, if Christian Wood's just that much of a dick.
Yeah,
maybe
exactly.
Maybe he pushes up to 25, 26 minutes a night.
No, it's possible. No one's going to take a flyer on Miles Bridges, it looks like, which is fine.
Yeah. Steven Adams is there as well. He's someone who I would have expected to go. He's the starting center for Memphis.
I would have expected him to go as well.
In a punt free throw team, I'm snapping him up well before this. His free throws would absolutely tank mine. So
me too. No way
so I didn't bother, but surely, like, Boy's not going to let him go past him on this next one, or whoever took those. Anthony Davis earlier in the draft. Who was that? Christian with Mobley and Davis and Capella. Surely you don't let him go past.
The guy that I want here is Caleb Martin, presumed starting power forward for the Heat, if I can get him back. But what do you think of Jalen Williams for the Thunder going there at 175?
I don't mind it. I think, especially with Chet out, I think, funnily enough, that opens up a bit of minutes for him. I feel like their front court is just all over the place. And they'll want to find minutes for Jalen Williams. He looked good in Summer League. He's versatile. His stat set is pretty decent. Jalen Duren just went.
I
don't mind it. There's a world where he can beat that rank, although I think it's less likely.
Okay, so look at their center rotations. There's Bagley, there's Stewart, there's Noel, there's Olynyk.
Yeah.
Dwayne, where's Duren going to play? Like, he probably starts out the season as the fifth guy there. Noel will probably get hurt, sure. But, like, at best, he's the fourth guy this season. I think they should just say fuck it and start him straight away.
I think so too. But I would be doing that if I was the coach.
But they won't. That's my problem there.
Yeah. But, yeah. I just think he's really good. And, I agree with you. But...
How dumb is it that both the Hornets traded out that pick for?
Oh, what were you doing? It fell into your lap. Like what? Like, of all the perfect scenarios that you could have scripted, that was the one. And and just threw it away. Like, and now you've got Mark Williams, who, I mean, he's fine, but Duren's got real upside.
I think Williams is also 2 years older than Duren, and I'd rather just take that extra 2 years.
Yeah, I thought that was very odd. I was very excited for them on draft day when I was watching along. I was sort of, this is awesome for the Hornets. And, wait, hold on. No, they're being idiots.
Oh, yeah, it was ridiculous. Well, it looks like I'm going to get Caleb Martin. I can't believe I'm excited about Caleb Martin. He's literally a starting option. Well, DeAndre Hunter's still there as well.
Yeah.
I'm talking about starters who are available.
DeAndre Hunter, JaVale McGee, Reggie Jackson.
Old mate Marvin Bagley.
Yeah, no, I won't bother with him.
Neither will I.
Even in 30 minutes a night, he might be hard-pressed to beat this rank.
What do you think about Joshi Primo?
He's in my queue. He was in my queue before, just as a flyer.
Like, I would take him ahead of, like, Josh Christopher or Matisse Thybulle, who just went.
Yeah, he's got upside. I mean, I know his fantasy game has been, unexciting to say the least, but he's very young.
He could play 30 minutes a night really easily.
And the prospect of him playing point guard definitely increases his value, in my opinion.
Yep, 100%.
So yeah, I like him as a late flyer.
I'm going to take Caleb Martin here if it gets to my pick. Otherwise, I'm probably going to get McGee. But McGee would be like, I'd be desperately searching on my roster. Has anyone got an out tag so I can immediately slide him into IR so I can add McGee if he ends up getting through.
Yeah. Ayo Dosunmu, he was on my queue with the Lonzo Ball news.
I'm not that into. I'm not as high on him as others are.
I'm not either, but he did put up some decent stats when injuries struck last year. So
yep, he was also playing 40 minutes a night in those games, wasn't he?
That's true. Yeah, he probably won't do that again.
everyone was out. Caruso was out. Lonzo was out. Levine was banged up.
Yeah,
It was
and
him
they got that.
DeRozan,
They got that new rookie
Pat
in there
Williams
as
was
well.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they've got Goran Dragic.
Oh, true. I always keep forgetting about Goran Dragic.
Yeah, he's one of those ones. There's another guy that I keep forgetting about as well on a team. I don't remember who it is now because I forget about it. There's someone that's on a team. I go, oh, yeah, that guy's there.
Yeah. All right.
I
Couple picks to
honestly
you,
don't
mate.
remember who it is anymore. Deshaun Tate just went. That's fine at that spot.
Yep, he could definitely beat that ranking. He could be starting. I mean, I expect Eric Gordon to start, but it could be Tate.
Eric Gordon, I forgot about him as well, but he's a real player. Do you have? I have no interest in Cam Thomas whatsoever.
Nah, not at all. Nah, he's just boring. And from a fantasy point of view, Caleb Martin, there you go. Yeah, in Brooklyn, when you've got Durant, Kyrie, and all those other guys that can shoot ahead of him, yeah, just not keen on him at all.
Joe Harris, Seth Curry, Patty Mills.
Yeah,
there's just too many guys there. People are intrigued by the idea because he's a bucket. He puts up 30 in summer league. That's cool. Much like we talked about before, like everything needs to be tailored around.
So did Kyle Guy last year. He was the fantasy
old mate
guy.
Kyle Guy.
Yeah, he was putting up buckets in summer league. What happened to him? All right, last pick of the draft. Here we go. I'll go with the guy that we talked about before and draft
JaVale.
Josh Primo. Just as a bit of an upside guy. I probably could have taken JaVale McGee there, but
So I'm looking at, do I actually have anyone injured on my team that I could slide into an injured? Maybe Suggs has still got the tag. I don't know. I don't think he does that. Oh, he does. Suggs has got the injured tag. Well, he's going straight into IR, and I'm picking up JaVale McGee.
There you go. All right, let's quickly just wrap it up and talk through our teams here and sort of what we sort of ended up with. Let's go through your team there first, Josh, and how you thought the draft went.
All right. I overall wasn't particularly happy with my team. I probably reached a little bit for Cade Cunningham in round 2, but it's more just to identify sort of how I'm viewing him this season. So my draft went Durant, Cade, then Garland, which I was happy with that value, Ingram, Pirtle, D'Angelo Russell, Nurkic, then Suggs, Kuzma, Aaron Gordon, Isaiah Stewart, Pat Williams, Mark Williams, and Caleb Martin to round it out. So taking some flyers on Pat and Mark Williams and Caleb Martin with my last 3 picks, getting some solid guys in the middle, but banking on a bit of an improvement from Russell, Nurkic, and Suggs, and a big step up from Cunningham this year.
How did you, do you have the numbers in front of you? How did your free throw percentage end up looking after taking Pirtle and Nurkic in sort of those mid-rounds there?
79. So basically sort of average.
Middle.
So I had some really strong ones early. The Pirtle one hurts, and then you're right, Nurkic. But Nurkic is weird because he's had some moments of being 75, 76. So there is some hope for that to go up. So my free throw is not ideal, but...
And on a week-to-week basis, it's sort of...
A lot of these guys that aren't great, like Aaron Gordon, I can sit down. Mark Williams doesn't have to play, like who are having an impact on my overall free throw. So I can probably get it up to 80 pretty easy, I'd say. Yeah,
cool. No, I like it. I think it's good squad. What did I do? I started with obviously Jokic. It's hard to screw it up from the first pick. So Jokic, and then I had Jimmy Butler fall to me again. He's another guy who seems to be falling a lot in drafts. He fell in the last mock that we did. So got Jimmy Butler and Shea, hoping that he sticks around with the playoffs in this league. At least would be scheduled to finish sort of mid to late March, and then picked Şengün and who was the other guy I paired, and John Collins to pair with him to solidify my rebounds and blocks. And then it was just kind of some basic boring picks after that. Marcus Smart seemed to fall. Vanderbilt was there. Got Jalen Smith at that point as well, Monty Morris, and then the last couple flyer picks in Hartenstein, Nazir Little, Quickly, Primo. Not guys that really fit my build very much, but just sort of guys that I think have a chance at beating that spot, and if they don't, I can send them to the waiver wire pretty quickly. So I think I was pretty happy with how my team ended up. I think I'm pretty strong in the both percentages and the defensive stats. My rebounds should be pretty solid. I think my assists should be middle of the pack. My turnovers should be middle of the pack, so I'm hoping to alternate wins there each week. 3 is obviously not too great. So yeah, I think my team worked out pretty well. But again, when you start with Jokic, it is a big leg up, that's for sure.
Yeah, your team's pretty strong, I think. Turned out to me one of the better teams there. With your really, you struggle with your threes, obviously, and your points are low. But everything else looks pretty good. I think pretty strong team. I'm happy with my squad. Like, it's not going to be the best in this league. I think I'm going to be competitive against most teams, and I'm going to be able to beat most teams. It's just going to come down to a couple of teams. I think Adam's team would probably have my number, and I reckon your team would just be able to get over the line against me in a tight matchup. But I think overall, like again, in a head-to-head league, you don't need to be the best team. You just need to be able to match up against the best teams the best. And that's sort of how that's part of the idea of punting as well. Like you don't have to win 8-1 every week. That's just a hard thing to do. Like you just got to beat the better teams 5-4 or 6-3, and that's all you need to do. Yeah,
identify the key categories. That's going to be the close ones, and then stream and cross your fingers that you got health come the playoffs. But I think that will do it today for us guys. I'm sure most of my followers and listeners already know who you are, Josh, but where can everyone find you, and what have you got going on over at Locked On Fantasy Basketball?
Well, we just did a show today on rookies. I don't know. I've got so much stuff coming this week that I don't actually know. We're doing Matt Smith's coming on. We're doing some tiers. Got another mock draft coming this week. But yeah, just go search my name, Josh Lloyd, or search Locked On Fantasy Basketball. You'll find me around. Yeah, and make sure you check out Basketball Monster, one of the best fantasy basketball websites out there. Make sure you subscribe to the Ball Boys podcast. Make sure you check out ballboysnba.com. And if you want some more help with your draft, you can check out our season guide. Just $10 to sign up there. Get access to our season guide. Get access to our exclusive fantasy articles and our exclusive Q&A podcast, which should be starting up in the next couple of weeks. Make sure you are subscribed, guys. Leave a thumbs up on the video, comment, let us know what you think of my team, what you think of Josh's team, 5-star ranking on iTunes, and we'll see you next time, guys. Laters.